El Sueño. Where did you come up with that?
So I was looking at names, right? Because I was always doing El Mero Mero for a while.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was running with that for a couple of years, and then, as soon as AEW popped up, I saw Thunder Rosa, and she was going with La Mera Mera, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I can't. Oh, you got to be kidding me. And then, like, so I was like, you know what, maybe it'll be all right. Started going to some other shows, and they're like, what's your name? I'm like, Iniestra. And they're like, oh, do you have anything else with that? I'm like, yeah, El Mero Mero. And they're like, oh, like Thunder Rosa? And I'm like, no, not like Thunder Rosa. And then after 2 or 3 of those, I was like, I got to change this. So I changed it, and then I'm like, what can I do? And then I thought about other wrestlers, and like then I thought about like Dusty Rhodes, and I'm like, because he's like the Dream, and I'm like, well, I don't want to do the Dream. And then I thought, I'm like, well, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna do it in Spanish. Like, just what if I do it in Sueño in Spanish? I don't think anybody else is doing that. So then I was looking around actually because I'm like, I don't know if anybody else is doing that. Let me check. And then I'm like, yeah, screw it, I'm gonna do it. And then I just came up with El Sueño, and then because I wanted something more like flashy, more like out there. And then I'm like, for some reason, El Sueño just sounds more like it's out there, and then along with like the new outfit that I started getting, like these crazy outfits. I don't know if you saw me come out with them, like the chain thing. I'm like, this seems like it's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like more in your face. So I'm like, let me do this for a while, and it's just sticking now. People are telling me like okay, they're telling me now like El Sueño instead of El Mero Mero. It's kind of like they just forgot about it. I feel like they just forgot about that, and now they're just going with El Sueño.
I mean, we haven't forgot. But I do like El Sueño. It has a little catch to it.
Yeah, it's a little more. I don't even know how to fucking describe it. Like a little more out there, I guess.
Yeah, isn't it weird? Like I remember when you first started training, like one of the first roadblocks you had wasn't anything athletic. It wasn't anything with like figuring out the theory. It was the fact that you weren't loud. Like you didn't feel comfortable yelling or being loud, right? So it's just weird to think back to that kid who was like sitting there being timid to the guy who's now coming out in chains, calling himself the Dream and stuff like that. And it's this big character and stuff like that. It's just cool to see that arc in like the way that you've done that, right? Because it's like you embraced it, and you embraced it in just an awesome way that a lot of people don't. And so that's why I like the name. I really do, because it shows you get it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's when I first started, it was just I was so, and the thing is like my personality isn't even like that. I'm not even like quiet like that. I'm like, if you get me with a bunch of the guys or whatever, I'm straight out there. Like I'm loud. I'm kind of obnoxious, but not like I'm not too obnoxious. I kind of know when to turn it down, and I can kind of read a room where, all right, this is the crew to be this way, and then this other crew's, I should be like this. I can kind of like, I can meet the energy in the room. So when I started doing that in wrestling, I guess I was trying to see like, okay, what can I be? What's my character in here? And what can I do that's fun? I don't want to be someone that's not, like, I don't want to be pretending, I don't want to be pretending to be somebody. And then, cause then at that point, it won't come off natural if I'm pretending. So like, I remember in a match, I remember it was like probably maybe like a year in maybe, or maybe 2 years. And I forgot who I was facing, but I was going to face somebody that wasn't really, they weren't really like, I'm like, I knew it going in there. I'm like, okay, I have to do something or this match is going to be boring and the crowd is going to completely just not care. And then I won't care. And it's just, I just don't want to have a bad match because I was just trying to prove myself. So then I'm like, screw it. I have to do something. So in that match, I just started yelling stuff. I started just being loud and saying like stupid, funny stuff that whatever came to my head. And then next thing you know, I would hear like people like kind of, they were acknowledging it. They would laugh. And then I would have other people talking smack to me. And then like, little things here that I would pick up from the crowd. So I'm like, oh, maybe this can work. And I just slowly started putting stuff in there like that, like stuff that I would say with my friends. That's like random, but I was putting it in the matches. So like,
yeah.
Started picking up, and then I'm like, okay, I got something. Then I would say little comments here and there, and then next thing you know, I'm slowly just getting more confident and slowly just bringing that character in and just being obnoxious and loud, and then, but like make it make sense to what I'm about to do and to who I'm going to wrestle. you know, and then have it backfire on me, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm a heel. So as long as it backfires on me and I can grab the crowd and have them hate me even more, then screw it. Yeah. So, and then that's when I was like, it'll fit what I do and what I say in the ring. I guess it would fit someone that would call themselves a sueño, I guess, you know, like kind of that flashy type of obnoxious kind of person. So like with someone that's full of themselves, think of someone that's fucking full of themselves and they'll say, well, I hate this person because they're just so cocky or they're just so whatever. And I'm like, this is what I want. That's when I brought the chains and all that. And what makes me look like a scumbag? Let me put that on. Let me put those chains on. So
yeah, so you're kind of trying to be like me. I get it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm flattered. You know, that's really
that's where I picked it up from.
But no, I think like that's really funny that you mentioned like how you are around your friends, because I feel like I kind of do the same thing. Like if I'm at, you know, at work or something like that, and people that know me and then they find out I wrestle, they're like, oh wow, like your character's so like out there, like you're not like that at work or anything. I'm like, why would I be like that at work?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, it makes no sense. But like even like I think like when you're with your friends, you're like who you really are. And then in the ring, it's like, you know, turned up a few notches from that even, you know, and I was kind of like the same way. And I remember my friends would always like throw stuff out like, oh, you should say this, you should try to say this or that. And I'm like, yeah, I'll test it out.
Yeah.
Test it out this weekend, you know?
Yeah. That's how it goes. People at work, they're like, "What? You're not like you're a different person at work." Some people go to my matches online. I'm like, "You're not like that at work." I'm like, "Why would I do that here? I'll get fired if I'm like this. Why would I do that?"
I also want to point out that for a little context here, when Andy was asked that, you would think, "Oh, was it your character when you were dancing and stuff like that?" No, they asked this when he was pretending to be a dog. So, like, his coworkers were basically asking him, "Why don't you act like a dog at work?" Like that was the timing of how this all worked out. Because I remember when he told me that, I'm like, "You mean the chain thing when you're like begging and stuff?" And okay, right. Okay.
But like, you imagine just like cutting a promo on someone at work or something, and like trying to get the rest of the room involved in it. Like it's so crazy, so crazy.
Let's all team up on that guy with just cutting a promo. I have random people I have people at work and like just friends are like, "Bro, cut a promo on me," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to." And they're like, "No, bro," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm just chilling. I don't want to cut no promo right now. Like I'm just relaxing. Like, oh, you're too good now," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then especially when people are drunk. When they're drunk, I people at bars too. Like, "Oh, look who it is! It's Iniestra," and then I'm like, "Hey man, what's up?" Oh, and then they start yelling at the next guy, and then next thing you know, a bunch of people are saying, "Bro, look at this guy! Careful, because he's gonna." The most annoying thing is when they're like, "Careful, bro! He's gonna powerbomb you." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, cool. Hey, bro. I'm like, "Can you shut up?" Like, just. I mean, it's cool, I guess, but at the same time, it gets kind of like, all right, I've heard this for like the 10th time already. I'm done.
Yeah.
Stop.
See, I don't have that problem. As a referee, I get yelled at by kids in like gas stations. Like, "Oh, you suck tonight." Like that's the best I get. Like they don't ask me to throw them through windows and shit. Like that's what I got to deal with when I get recognized.
You screwed up that finish. I hate you.
Yeah, I've had my share of really strange fans approach me at the store or gas stations or just maybe I'm with the family and we're at Walmart and it's just like this weird awkward stares, like weird smiles, and I'm always just like wrestling and they're like
That's how it goes. Or they do it like they'll see me at work and they're like, "Iniestra," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I turn around, I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" I think it's cool because they're fans, but like here, right out of all places, it's I guess it's pretty cool because like we live a different life. I guess we're not like regular. I mean, I feel I'm like a regular guy, but it's just sometimes you kind of get taken back, like, wow, these are other people that are really pay attention to this stuff. I didn't realize, and then next thing you know, you're hugging kids, you're shaking random guys' hands and like, "Bro, I was just at the show," and I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "I don't remember you, but I'm gonna be cool, thank you, damn, like, because at the end of the day, there's no wrestling without them, so I appreciate it."
Yeah. It's definitely kind of, it can be fun depending on who it is. when that happens. But yeah, it's definitely different. It's like, it's weird because you're like a star on the weekend. And someone told me, like, Derek St. Holmes once told me, he's like, yeah, you're a rock star on the weekend, but then you still got to go home and clean the toilet.
Oh my, yeah. Yeah. It's, Greg told me that, Greg, Jones, or I don't know how he goes on there. Greg Murray, Moondog. He told me, actually, we were talking about it, and he's like, hey, do you ever get this feeling where, like, you go home after a match and then, like, you're just, like, you're off that high of wrestling? And I'm like, oh, dude, it's awesome. I know. He said, yeah. And then you ever just go and then you, like, on Monday morning comes and you're at work and you're like, wow, I was just doing this crazy things in front of hundreds of people, and now I'm just regular old me. And I'm like, you know what? I never thought about it that way, but yes, yeah. This is crazy. And then, like, and I started thinking about it when I'm at work. I'm like, wow, this past weekend I was just over here doing this in front of hundreds of people, sweating my ass off. And then now I'm just here and I'm like, I'm regular old Victor. Like, this is, I mean, I guess that you can look at it as being depressed, or you're like looking at it as a good thing. I mean, it depends, but I mean, it's really like you live two lives. You're a different person on the weekend and as to where you are in during the week.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you'll have, like, stories and experiences that no one else has.
Definitely.
And where people will ask you about it and want to, tell me about the road, or tell me about, just exciting stuff. Like, yeah, that's like, I used to do these, like, road trips where you leave on, like, a Friday morning, drive to, like, North Carolina, sleep for a couple hours, do the show, and then drive straight back because everybody had to work on Monday, and, like, little adventures, dude, and all kinds of stories to come out of that. It's like, it's good memories, Good things to share.
It is. It's what I really started noticing that, like, within the past year, that it's not just about the matches. It's not just about who you're wrestling. It's also, like, about who you're traveling with. You have your core group of people, and the experiences, all the fucking, the shooting the shit with people, just the experiences, the traveling the road, and then, you really get to know each other. So I guess I really didn't notice it up until this past year, and it's really cool who you travel with. Like, you really want to travel with that core group of guys, and then once you start doing it, it's awesome. It's a really cool experience. It's really, that's how you get to know the guys, man. It really is. Like, I think, what was that thing where a lot of the people like the old timers, they say, like, oh, you learn the business on the road.
Yeah,
That's really, that is true. It really is true. I believe it 100%. After this past year, I believe it, that you're really learning the business on the road. Definitely are.
Yeah. So, how did you even get into wrestling? Is that something you always wanted to do? Or did you watch wrestling growing up?
So I never really thought about the idea of actually wrestling, like being a wrestler. But I've always been interested. I've always been interested since I was a kid. I've always watched it. Like, it would pop up on my TV. And I remember it was during, I don't know if you guys remember when the whole thing with Stone Cold had the thing with Rikishi, and then the running him over, and then I did it for The Rock. Like, that's when I started watching it. That's when it was on TV and I saw it. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I started watching it, and next thing you know, I'm watching SmackDown and Raw every week, during that Attitude Era. And then, but I've always been a fan of it, so I'm watching it for years. And then I kind of, around the 2006-ish time, I stopped watching it because, I get into high school and I don't really care about wrestling anymore. Then 2011, I happened to just turn on the TV, and it was when CM Punk dropped that pipe bomb. So that's that's when it got me into it. It was just happened to be that day. And then I'm like, well, what the hell's going on? Like, is this true? And I started watching it since then. But, like, after I graduated in 2010, I went to school in Chicago because I wanted to go play D3 football. So I go out there, do my time out there, and then after a while, I'm thinking, you know what? Like, I don't really care about school. I don't care about this anymore. I'm not really as passionate about football in school as I was before, because I've been just doing this for so long. And then I'm thinking, you know what? Like, what if I give wrestling a try out, right? Like, what if I give wrestling a try? Because I was watching it already again, and that just crossed my mind because I still like to do athletic stuff. So I'm like, well, football's about to be over soon. what am I going to do? And that's when I started looking at wrestling, like seriously again. And then, because I wanted to go out to Texas with Booker T. I wanted to go out there to ROW, but it was just the whole move and all that. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go all the way out there. Next thing you know, I found a place here that's close by, and then I'm like, screw it. I went to a show, and then pretty much history from there. I just started getting hooked, and I wanted to do it. Ever since then, I've been doing it. I pretty much gave up. I think I put this on my Twitter. I pretty much gave up my whole weekends at 23 because I just dedicated to wrestling because that's all it is on the weekends. And I really don't regret it at all. I don't regret it at one bit. I've given up my weekends for that. I just found a new passion, and since then it's been a passion.
Wow. So originally you wanted to go to the Booker T school.
Mm-hmm.
But then you ended up still going. Making your way there.
Yeah, I went down there. I visited it probably a year ago. I went down there to visit it. I hit them up online and started talking to, I think it was Charmel, because she would be in charge of the phones down there. So I called, and then I recognized the voice. I'm like, I think this is Charmel. And I didn't want to sound like a mark, right? So I was like, I think this is Charmel. So I think the third time when I called, because I was trying to get information, I was like, by the way, is this Charmel? She's like, yeah. I'm like, holy shit. But I didn't say that in my head. I'm like, holy shit. And then, I'm sorry, yeah, I watched you on TV, blah, blah, blah. She started laughing. She's really cool. She's a really nice woman. But I went down there, and I went down there, and it's really, the way it's set up, it's a whole other thing. It's really, it'll help you get ready for the next, it's one of those places where it'll help you get ready for the next step. And I went down there and I met Booker T, and I was just really like, wow, this is Booker T. Like, holy crap. I can't believe. And then I went and I shook his hand, and I was like trying to wipe the sweat off my palms because I'm like, well, this is the guy that I admired for years. And he's a tall dude, and at first he was really cold, but I can tell okay, maybe he's just, just trying to see testing you, and I had my tryout match in front of him with some other guy. It's a 5-minute match. He just literally said, all right, guys, get in there and work. Got in there and worked, ran nothing to just show that I could work and I can do it, put a little mini story together in 5 minutes. And then afterwards he critiqued it and he's like, I really like it. Let's work together, man. Let's work together.
Nice.
Yeah, he's like, it looks like you know what you're doing. Let's work together. There's little things here and there that we could fix, but that'll come with time, and let's work together. So that right there was like, all right, I'm doing something cool. I'm doing something right. I'm not, because I didn't, you think you're good, but then until someone at that level tells you, hey, you're doing good, I'm like, all right, I am doing something good. I'm boosting my confidence right there. And it gave me that extra push to keep going. So
well, it's nice because then, he's able to recognize that, your fundamentals are solid, You've obviously been at this for a while. You know what you're doing. You're safe in the ring, Mm-hmm. And that's what's awesome. That's how when I first got started, my friend Derek, at the time he was like, I was like, oh, I want to get into wrestling. I don't know where to go, and he was like, go here. This is where you want to train,
mm-hmm.
And he's like, just make the time, make the effort, drive there 2-3 days a week, and that's where you want to train.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, well, he was going to all these other shows and stuff, but I'm like, no, if he's pretty serious on that's where to train, that's where I'm going, And
mm-hmm.
So it's nice that people recognize that and know you're going to be safe for the ring. And when you meet these people that you grew up watching on TV, I've got to meet quite a few of them, and it's cool that they're just like normal people. It's just like being around another guy in the locker room. And, at the end of the day, you're both just keeping each other safe in there,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes I've run into people like that, you would see for years on TV and all that, and people that you looked up to or admired.
Yeah.
And then for a little bit, I have to be like, Vic, chill, don't act weird. And then, because I can't help it. These are the reasons that many of the reasons that I got into this, because I've seen them on TV. I'm cool with them, go up to them and introduce myself, and then hey, yeah, nice to meet you. As soon as I walk away, I'm like, holy shit, dude, that was so and so. Holy crap, I can't believe
talking about the birthday party. The birthday
you
party.
Right?
The birthday party.
Which one?
The one where there was someone at your table already.
Oh yeah. That was another thing. I was like, wow, I can't believe I can't believe that happened, And then I just kind of walked away. I'm like, I need to take a deep breath for a second and get some water. But it's awesome when you meet these people, dude. They really are like normal people, and I think my girlfriend told me too. At the end of the day, these people, I think they just want to go out and like be normal for once, like.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have people all the time bother them, and then they have to obviously be professional. But I'm sure they appreciate the times where they're like, okay, I can just walk in here, nobody knows me because they're not into wrestling. They just want to be normal for a while and just hang out and just chill and drink. And that's what I try to do. Like when I see them, I'm like, okay, cool, let's just hang out, just chill. But deep down inside, I'm like, holy crap, this person's right in front of me. Like,
yeah, dude, I know what you're saying, man. Like sometimes, I look back at, different either shows I've been at or different scenarios where I've run into, people, and like just an example, like I think back and I'm like, wow, I can't believe, at one point I was in a bar having a beer with Hacksaw Jim Duggan and like two little people. You know what I mean? Like, who has that story?
Mm-hmm.
And you only know a handful of other people have that same story, and it's just like so crazy, man.
That's how it was. Like, cause Dave was talking about, cause I met Chris Jericho, and it was for the Forbidden Door show that they came out here. So he came a day early. I went to go get pizza down the road because I was in Chicago in some club/bar, and left to get pizza. People were messaging me, bro, where are you? You need to come back. Like, what the hell? And I'm like, I'm coming. And then I'm like, why the hell do they care if I'm gone or not? Come back. I walk in, right? And then I see everybody looking at me. I'm like, all right, well, what the hell? What are you trying to do? And then as soon as I walk and I turn the corner, I look to my left, and there he is. He's just standing there. He was just kind of looking, and I'm like, it wasn't even like he was in on it. He was just there, and we happened to like just look at each other, and I was like, I had to do like a double take, like, is that Chris Jericho? And then everyone started laughing at me. I'm like, what the hell? That's Chris Jericho. Holy crap. And then I tell my girl, hey, look who it is. She does like one of those, her eyes get open, like, holy crap, that's Chris Jericho. And then I was like, and then he looks at me, he's like, I know, it's me. And I'm like, it's you. And he's like, I know, it's me. And I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, I don't know. He's like, we're here. Cause he was at my table. And it turns out he knew the person, who I knew, and we had a mutual friend. And he's awesome. Like, I know, I'm here. And I'm like, well, he's like, let's just drink. Let's have fun. I'm like, we're here. He's like, we're here, we're now. And I'm like, all right, screw it. And next thing you know, we're drinking and having fun. He was a really cool guy. He wasn't weird or nothing. I got that vibe. Like, he was like, let's just have fun and just, just chill. And he was probably like, don't make it weird. And I'm like, all right, man, let's just hang out. And then next thing you know, we're hanging out, and really cool dude, man. He was awesome, cool vibes. He was talking to everybody. It's not like he was just talking to one person. Like, he had time to talk to everybody and get to know them a little bit, even if it's just like a, hey, what's up, man? How are you? That's great. Was pretty cool.
Like, all right, I guess we're breaking the walls down.
It's one of those things where you tie these people to these characters, right? And you think, all right, everybody's character is like a little bit of them, and whatever. So you make these assumptions. And I always go back, and I love telling this story. And Andy's going to punch me in the face one day because I've said it too much. But right before he's going to go out and have a match where he's got a chain around his neck and he's acting like a dog, we're sitting there right behind the curtain as we're about to go out. I'm getting mentally prepared for this. And he just turns to me and goes, dude, I'm almost 40.
Like
legit, though. Like,
I remember one time we were in the we went behind the curtain, and he's like, bro, he listens. He's like, bro, what if I just go out there and cut a promo in just perfect English? Because he was doing the whole like dog and like barking thing, and he's like, what if I just go out there and be like, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm like, do it. He's like, no, I can't go out there. Music plays, the next thing you know, you're in character.
Yeah, man, that's what's crazy, But no, I think it's fun to to meet a lot of these guys. It's kind of cool, like the people you end up meeting along the way, you know. Like I met so many cool people. I just had so many awesome conversations, and yeah, it's unreal. People don't realize sometimes they think you know, they think, oh, wrestling's this or that, or oh, you mean like those guys on TV? And it's like, yeah.
Like it is.
Yeah, like just like that. But what do you do after the show? Like go back and sit and be bored for a while until it's time to go home? Like
yeah, it's you meet a lot of people that are just they're coming from different parts of the world, or like just different parts of the world and different situations where it's like some people are going through some dark shit. Some people are going, you know, through some tough times, and there's other people that like are just figuring it out, you know, and just we're all coming from different situations, and it's cool just to once you get there to the show, you're just like, all right, let's do this. This is awesome. The moment you walk in, whether you're helping out with setup or you're just walking in, whatever, and you start talking to people and just hanging out, and you're all there just to have fun, and just it's awesome thinking like, okay, this is going to be a nice crowd. This is going to be a packed house, whatever. Even if it's not a packed house, you're still there, and you're just in the bag hanging out, and you can just watch the matches and critique each other. And because at the end of the day, we're doing this because we love it. We're not doing it because we're made to be here, where nobody's telling us to do this because we have to be here, you know. We're doing it because we love it. So that's what it should be. I always think like once it's, because I've heard this a couple times and I 100% agree with it. Like once you stop having fun with this, and it's not like it becomes a chore. It's like, why do it? Just don't do it then. You know?
Yeah.
You're just gonna get hurt. You know, I just do it because you love it, and you know, if vibe with the person, and you honestly just build a connection with someone. If you're working someone in the ring, and then you just beat the shit out of each other for a little bit, and then you come back to the ring, and it's like, wow, I respect this guy. You know, he didn't tell me nothing. He respected it. I gave him some, and he gave me some back, and let's have fun. Let's just have a beer. You know, let's drink. You know, or if you're like me, I'll have a Diet Pepsi, and like let's just have a Diet Pepsi together.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about wrestling, and is I always find like the different personalities or the different you know, egos and things like that. And like you might be wrestling a guy you like, you might be a friend, you're gonna have a nice fun match. You could be wrestling somebody you totally hate, but at the end of the day, like when you're in the ring with them, like everybody knows to like keep each other safe. And like, you know, there's like that unwritten like, you know, rule, like don't drop me on my head, you know.
Yeah, just don't hurt me. Let me walk back in peace, you know.
Yeah,
hey, I'm in, but don't kill me.
I always said like, yeah, you know, we should both be able to like get up tomorrow and watch football or whatever we want to do. You know?
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Let me get home in peace, and let me just sit up and with no injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you two were trained in a way though that is really cool, right? Because with a lot of these kids who are just trying to find fly-by-night places to get started and stuff like that, they're taught moves but not taught how to use them and so forth. They're taught sequences and how to memorize sequences. And then, you know, they get into a ring with a veteran, and then that veteran laughs at them and goes, no, we're caught in there. And then they're a deer in headlights. But with you guys and the way you were trained, you can have that magic with people because you were taught the theory, the way to use things, where to place them, and how to feel a crowd, you know. And Vic, you've talked about it a few times about feeling crowds out and, you know, like finding that response. And Andy, I go back. I love that you went 8 minutes once without tying up and had the crowd in the palm of your hand because, you know, you get the understanding of the storytelling. And when you guys talk about having these cool moments with these guys, it's like you guys are so fortunate, and it's so cool to watch you guys work because you learned how to make that happen, how that was possible, right? Because not everyone's like that. Not everyone's fortunate like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's definitely 100% true, because it's just a lot of, I don't know, for some reason, some people that they're not trained that way, I guess. It's just some people are, you know, and like I know Booker T trains people like that. That's pretty cool. People that are like signed, like they're people with names, I get, or places, schools with names do train their people like that. But sometimes for some reason, I guess some people just don't get it. I think maybe they look between the lines too much, or they're reading too much into it because it's not clicking, you know. And then I don't know, maybe it's the way I think about it, or maybe because like I just did it so much and how I was trained definitely how I was trained. But I think because I wanted to understand it more, I took the extra time to like talk to people like, hey, does this make sense? Am I doing this right? What am I screwing up on? You know, is there matches that I can watch? Is there examples that like, what if this happens? What if that happens? You know, I pull up different scenarios, and I just went that extra mile just to figure out what happens in a certain scenario. Why does this look like crap? How can I make this look better? What happens in this? You know what I mean? It's just, I would ask these questions and I just go that extra mile. Maybe it's because I did that. That's why it was clicking a lot quicker. And along with the reps that I was getting, or that I still am getting, I don't, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's what helped me out, because now it's to the point where I could just go in there and someone could tell me, yo, let's call it in the ring. Here's the finish. Here's my comeback. And you're the heel and I'm the face. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. Like, you're not intimidating me, you know, let's go out there and do this, you know, like it's cool to do that. I could do it all. I can call it in the ring. I could put the whole thing together in the back and then go do it out there. The problem is sometimes when something's not clicking and something's not working, people don't know how to adjust, and then people aren't buying it. And then they're like, oh no, I don't know what to do. You know, people are thinking that way because they've
chops.
Oh my God, that's the whole thing. I call those unreliable. I call the chops. What are we gonna do? Reliable. Bam! This will get the crowd to talk. And it's like,
I don't know, chops.
Literally, why? It's like we just had 3 matches. Chop. Why do we have to chop? Like, can we not chop? You know, it's just like, if you chop me, okay, cool, I chop you back. But can we just have that? That's it. Like, that's the only chops, because it's annoying. It's overdone, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it depends what you're doing in the match. That'll make sense. But it definitely, I appreciate the way I was trained and how I came up, and just talking to different people, because I don't get there without asking questions and having people help me out along the way, you know, because you don't get there just by yourself. Like, you have to take the time to ask everybody and just ask for different opinions and what am I doing wrong, you know? And I think that's it. Just people maybe don't want to ask questions, maybe because of their pride. I don't know what it is, because even to this day, I'll ask people like where I'm at. Like, I'll ask my trainers, I'll ask someone else that's in the back with more experience, hey, am I doing this right? You know, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's a pride thing that people don't want to ask. Maybe that's why they're not picking it up. I don't know.
Yeah, I've had a lot of, you know, people in the past where like you call a move or something, and you know, like, hey, you're in the bag. You're like, hey, can you do this or this? And they're like, yeah, I can do it. And then you get out there and they have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's like, why didn't you tell me that, dude? Like, I almost. Almost dropped you on your neck. Like, what?
Yeah, if they want me to do a move, I'm like, wait, how do you do this? Do you do it like this or do you do it like that? Oh, yeah. I just do it like this. Can you show me? You know, because I don't want us to both look like idiots out there. Oh, okay, I got it. You know, because I don't because sometimes I get annoyed. Like, are you serious? But then I say, I don't want us to both look like idiots. I don't want to make us look like idiots. And they'll say, oh, okay, let me go and, you know what I mean? That kind of maybe doesn't know. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I'm just not going to say it, you know, like I'd rather make us both look good. So that usually works. And
that's the whole point of the match, is to make each other look good, you know?
Definitely.
So, definitely. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I always like to call it in the ring, but I wasn't always that way, you know? It just took a lot of repetition, and I'd always like, you know, when I was a kid, I used to almost do like pretend matches. And like I always wanted to like make people believe I was getting hurt. I remember I'd always like stage these fights with my cousin and I was like, all right, now before grandma comes into the kitchen, throw me up against the cabinet and I'm going to have a blood capsule, but she's not going to see it. And I remember like he'd do that. I'd hit the cabinet and all of a sudden blood capsule, you know, running down my mouth, and grandma would freak out, you know. And like I was always like that. Like, how can we make it look as real as possible?
Yeah.
And tell that. And like I was like telling a story, you know, almost before I even knew what that was, you know. So crazy.
It just happens, you know, you just figure out different ways, you know. It's definitely a whole world, you know. It's, you figure out how to work things, and then you just kind of, like, you ever just happen when you're driving and then you just start playing a match in your head randomly.
Oh yeah.
That's just randomly. You're like, oh, this will work with so and so. And you're just thinking about it. You don't even realize it. And next thing you know, you get to the place where you're driving at, and then like, wow, I didn't even know how I got here. I was just thinking about a whole match in my head.
I had a dream the other night. I was working with Zetas. Like, it was crazy. Like I threw a kick out. I threw a kick in the air in my sleep. But I have the whole match in my head. It's so crazy.
You're like, what are you doing, babe? I had to kick out.
I know. Hey, I kicked out, man. Zeta took the boot. It's all good.
They got their shit in though.
Yeah, right. They got all their shit in. But that's crazy. So like how? But then so you did the wrestling stuff. You tried. But how did you get into the powerlifting stuff?
Oh, yeah. So
did that come before wrestling?
No, that was after.
Okay.
So I started wrestling in 2015. I didn't start powerlifting until 2017. But so the reason why is because, well, one, I always loved lifting because of football. I've always been interested in that. But like when I got into wrestling, I was always the smallest guy. I was literally like, I'm only 5'7", right? And then when I got there, it was like me and two other people that were like around my height. Everybody else was like 6 foot something, 200 something. And I was like, these guys look like straight bodybuilders. What the hell am I like? What? But I mean, I was like, no, I gotta do this. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I love this shit. Like, this is what I want to do. And like, just to be involved in it, and then I was like, I gotta do something. And then I would watch my matches back, and then I would see how my physique, and I'm like, I don't like my physique at all. I don't like how I look. Like, it's just, I know I can do more. And I'm like, I gotta do something. I can't just be lifting weights just to lift weights. Like, there has to be something more I could do. And I wasn't gonna do bodybuilding because I love food too much, and I want to be able to do all that. Like, it'd be too much stress, just stressing out about all that. I mean, to this day, I still count calories, but I don't do it in a bodybuilding way. So that's when I was like, what can I do to help me gain size? And then that's when I like found powerlifting. First I was looking at bodybuilding, and then I saw a little thing that said like, oh, you should do powerlifting if you don't want your diet as strict. So I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I already knew what it was, but I just didn't know it had a name. And powerlifting is pretty much just how much weight you can lift from squat, bench, and deadlift. And I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna do this. So then I signed up for a meet, and after that first meet, I was in love with that. I was in love with that shit since like the first meet that I did, and after that, like I just started, you start figuring it out, like kind of how can I get better at this, certain techniques for squat, what can I do for bench? How can I improve my deadlift? And, you start looking at that and you start meeting people in that community, kind of like the wrestling community. There's a wrestling community online. Same thing for powerlifting. There's that whole fitness industry. They all have something, and powerlifting is just as involved in all that. So I'm like, I need to get a coach. I ended up finding a coach. I worked with him for a little bit. He wasn't like directly a powerlifting coach, but he was doing a little bit of everything. But he didn't like specialize in all that. So I started powerlifting, started noticing that I was gaining some size. Finally, I'm liking my physique in wrestling because I was watching my matches. And then after that, I'm like, I ended up finding a different coach because I wanted to, take it up a notch. I found a world champ. His name is Ellis McLean. He's a 2-time world champ. And like, I found his stuff online. He's really well known in the community for powerlifting. So I found him, and I hit him up a DM online. I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I'm so and so. This is what I want to do. This is my goals. Dude hits me back He hits me back up in like I think a couple hours, and he's like, bro, I just saw your stuff online. I like it, and he just was telling me what he likes. He's like, bro, like let's work together. Let's get on a call. We get on a call, and then I've been working with him since. It's the whole thing with like social media. Everything literally runs through social media right now. Is because he saw my stuff online, and he's like, oh, I get an idea. I got an idea who he is. And he's a huge wrestling fan. So like, he's like a whole fan of like the whole 90s stuff. So that's how I got in contact with him. And then, he obviously just took my game in powerlifting even farther, and just like little things that I wasn't noticing, just like in wrestling, you ask people who with more experience, same thing with him. And then it just so happens that I love lifting and love competing, that it just helps me out now in wrestling. And I don't think I would have been in shape wise, I guess, and I wouldn't have been right now where I am had it not been for people like in powerlifting and like the coaches that I have in there, because my body wouldn't have been able to take it, dude. Like I would have just been like, I'm getting hurt, screw this. But that definitely that's what helped me out. I think powerlifting has definitely helped me out in wrestling for sure, 100%.
Yeah, do they now in powerlifting? Because I know in Olympic lifting they kind of frown on cardio a little bit. But do they frown on cardio in powerlifting?
No, I mean some people that so there's different.
You know what I'm saying though.
Yeah. That's a whole. That's like it's like the whole thing with wrestlers when people say, "Oh, all you guys do is just steroids and all that." It's that like that little bad thing. That's what they say about powerlifters, that they don't care about their diets. Some powerlifters don't give a damn about their diet. As long as they're big, they eat whatever because they just need to gain size. Those are like the heavyweight powerlifters. Mm-hmm. But like the regular size human beings that are powerlifting, we do take our diet serious. I do, at least too. I have a nutritionist that helps me out who is a bodybuilder, and I have a nutritionist. Other world champ powerlifters have nutritionists that help them out too. They're not as strict as bodybuilding, obviously. They can get away with like eating a piece of cheesecake and that won't harm them. It'll help them out. But no, I definitely do. Had I not taken my diet serious, man, I would have looked like a fat sack of shit. Like it's not, it's definitely, they do take their diet serious. They have to, because, if they want to hit those calories, they want to hit those weights, you have to. There's no way around it. You have to just do that work in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked, too, how you mentioned that, your coach was a fan of wrestling. Mm-hmm. And I feel like even like, when people get into wrestling, their goal is to be like, to get to that top level, be like that's your career. You're on TV. That's like the goal. But as you get involved in wrestling, it's crazy how career-wise and interest-wise wrestling helps open the door to these other things. Like I had, I think if it wasn't for wrestling, I wouldn't have had my career in marketing. Mm-hmm. It kind of just that story of, oh, hey, I do wrestling on the weekends, kind of it was such a bizarre story, got me in the door to a different whole career. Mm-hmm. And then I've seen wrestling since then open the doors to the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. And then I started getting involved with like podcasting and video, like it just opened the doors to all the next steps, like in my life almost, but I see that with with a lot of you guys too, that it's almost like if you didn't get that training and involved in wrestling, I know for all you guys, it's going to open up doors to bigger and better things, and it might be, that dream of, being on TV, but it could be a whole nother thing. You have no idea. You know what I mean? And that's what's exciting about it.
Mm-hmm. It is. It 100% it has. It's just, I think too, it just being in front of all those people and just like training and doing all this other stuff. It's just, it builds your confidence, and you literally do become a different person because of all this, because of wrestling, just in general, of everything that comes with it. You just learn how to, your personality evolves, it's in front of like all these people, and then the people that you work with, because there's a lot of egos in this. There's a lot of people with different personalities in this that wrestle. So you obviously have to talk to everybody a little different, and then you just learn, you learn. And then in life, it's just, you really do become a different person to where, hey, you know what? I hate, because I'm going actually through it right now. Like you hate what you're doing, or maybe you don't. You think there's more, right? You think there's more in like in your career wise, right? Because say you get signed, right, and then because like when I get signed, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to leave it for wrestling, because you can't bump forever. You can't bump forever. You can't do that. There has to be something else too that you want to do, whether that leads to entertainment or something else or something bigger. That's cool, awesome. But what else interests you? There's I just started getting into this whole because my girlfriend, she works remote, but she does like podcasting. But she works for like a company that does podcasting stuff with like other big companies, and they build stories and interviews and all that. I've been seeing how she does it, and I'm like, wow, this is really awesome. I kind of want to do this. So I started looking at Chicago right now. I'm talking to them, WBEZ radio station. They do their own podcasting stuff, and I just like looking in different areas that I want to do, maybe build stories like that, and like using Pro Tools and all this other stuff. And at this stuff, you look into this other opportunities because you just evolve as a person. You get different hobbies. Your character, your personality evolves, and then you're like, you know what? I'm not going to settle for this anymore. I'm going to go for this over here, And then you talk to maybe in an interview, or you pitch yourself, right? You pitch yourself in a more professional way. You say, hey, do this and this. Whatever it is you got to say, right? You sell yourself. And then the moment they hear, oh, well, what other creative things have you do? Well, I wrestle. And they're like, whoa, wait, what? You wrestle?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's what gets them right there. That's like, I gotcha, And then that's what starts it. It's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, bro, I was a wrestler. I was a fan since so-and-so. Oh, well, and then they think, well, maybe since he does this, he has a creative mind. Let's see what he can do, and just a foot in the door is all I need, so wrestling, it does, it definitely, it opens so many doors, whether people don't want to believe it or not, it does because you just evolve as a person. 100% you evolve as a person.
It's crazy. And people notice the confidence, for sure. And even when, you're starting to look into other avenues, I think it makes it easier to start then using your confidence and personality, like your personality is involved, and you're using that in other avenues. Mm-hmm. And that's that's really cool. That's what people, want. You can go into an interview and you can say like, oh, guess what? I have all this experience at working with people. Mm-hmm. I've worked with, they always ask you like, oh, did you ever have a situation where you didn't get along with somebody? And then what did you do? Well, I kept them safe in the ring.
I shit on them.
We hugged it out in the back.
Yeah, we hugged it in the back.
But if you think about it, you have all those little interactions with people at wrestling shows, and then you just translate it into the real world. It's the same thing,
mm-hmm. So same exact thing, man. Same exact thing. Is just it's not as wild.
Not as wild.
It's not as wild, and they're more toned down. So like, wow, like I'm not like you talk to someone else that's really like chill and all that. Like in real life, You're thinking, wow, I don't have to go all crazy, But it does. It definitely it helps you out. It definitely does help you out.
Nice. So how do you feel about like now, because like we were used to wrestling every weekend at the same place, training at the same place, but now that you're not you're kind of like, now you're at the point where you're out on your own. Mm-hmm. Have you found it easier for doors to open at other places? Have you found it more difficult?
In the beginning, it was, I knew what was going to happen. When I started going out there more by myself, I knew I was going to basically have to start from scratch. I knew it. I wasn't blind to it. I wasn't naive or nothing. I knew it was going to happen. I knew I was going to, in a way, I guess, have to repay my dues, not financially, but like just as far as putting up rings, showing up there early, not getting booked, all those little things that you go through when you're first starting. I knew it was going to happen. But I was humble about it. I wasn't like, oh, screw this, I'm better, I shouldn't. No, like, because at the end of the day, who the hell are you? You're always trying to prove yourself. And even when you get signed, you're still proving yourself. You're like, why did I get signed? Cool, this is why I got signed. And you have to keep proving yourself, like why you deserve to be there. I'm not. I think I've heard wrestlers say this before. They say this business doesn't owe you anything. The dude doesn't owe me a damn thing. Because we're all here and we're putting the work in. So I think when I first started, I knew it was going to happen. But I was positive. I was thinking, as soon as I get my opportunity, I can show that I can work, that I can actually work, and then I'm professional. I'm not someone that's going to have an ego. I knew I just had to put my head down and just work, dude. That's all I had to do. And then next thing you know, I get a match, and then I knocked that one out of the park. And then I get another match, and then I'm part of that roster. Cool. And then next thing you know, I'm talking to someone else. Hey, bro, you're really good. You should go over here to this other promotion. Oh, cool. Who do I have to talk to? Here you go. Boom, hit them up. And I always make sure to tell them, hey, I want to come and help out with anything that you need. Okay, cool. Here's a time you got to show up. Awesome. Show up there early, do work, help them out. It's a long day because you got to stay there for setup and you got to stay there for teardown. And at the end of the day, who am I? You know, I'm the one trying to get there. Prove myself there again, and then boom, keep doing the same thing over and over, until you're getting out there. And then there's media online, social media that people see. You know, and people see you out there, and they say, "Oh, I know him. He was on so and so. He was over here, and I met him over here. I like his work. Let's bring him in." And it just happens, you know. It's just, but you can't stop. You have to keep doing it. You know, I have to keep doing it every weekend. And now I'm at the point where I'm working every weekend, you know, somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm working every weekend, and I love it. It's just, so some people, I've noticed that some people have an attitude about it. They don't want to do that. I think they think that they're like, no, I deserve better. Screw that. I'm not going to go do this, you know. And like, I guess that's fine. You know, I guess I could see it too. Like, you value yourself more, but then sometimes those people don't get booked. Those people don't end up getting far, and then they blame other people. You know, they blame other people that I'm not getting booked. Why am I not on this card? I should be on this card. Oh, cool. Well, bro, show up. You know, let's put up the ring together. Nah, I can't do that because of this and this. Well, all right then. Cool. Go. Keep complaining. You know, that's all I'm hearing is complaining. You're not getting somewhere because you think you're someone. And last time I saw you, your wrestling was trash and you couldn't get past an 8-minute match. You know what I mean? It's those little things. But I think it's just a matter of working hard and just keep showing up and doing your part. Because eventually you're going to be part of that main roster. Now you build these relationships and you're working every weekend. If you really want to, you could really work every weekend. Just a matter of getting out there and doing it. Some people
I found like, you know, I always had the mentality of I want to be the first one there and the last one to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always help set up and tear down. And even when I first started to when I was the, main event of the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was still showing up to help out, set up, tear down. But what I would do is I'd look around and I'd see all these guys that were, I'm superstar, I'm
Mm-hmm.
Saturday superstar,
Yep.
And they would just sit and watch you, and they would sit and watch like 2 or 3 guys struggle to set up this entire ring
Mm-hmm.
and not lift a finger because they were the book talent,
Yep.
And I saw it all the time where almost guys, family that's there to see them will just help out with the ring just so they can get the hell out of there.
Yep.
At the end of the night,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy still won't budge because they're the champion or, whatever, and I always thought to myself, like, I never want to be like that.
Yep.
That's not who I'm going to be. That's not what I'm going to do. And I would show up when I see, like, wrestling now is a lot different now than it used to be when I first started. And when I first started, there was, so many guys on the rosters that they already had all the spots filled. So you had to, like, I would go and help out with like concessions or
Mm-hmm.
tickets at the door or, not just set up and tear down, but like, what else can I do? What else,
Yep.
help sell merchandise or, and then I, kind of relayed my, that's kind of how I got into like website marketing stuff. I was like, hey, hey, I can help out with the website. I can help out with this or that, and then after a while, once I started, getting better and getting good at wrestling and stuff, for a while, I went to, work for some other promotions. And back then it was more along the lines of, the promoter would be like, oh, well, who trained you? Who trained that guy? And then as soon as you tell them, they're like, oh, yeah, he's on,
Mm-hmm.
And so you always just want them to show up with your gear,
Yep.
And sometimes you just showed up and, word of mouth, someone would tell them who you are. And then, oh, yeah, he's good. He knows what he's doing. Let's get him on, and that's how I would get on different shows, and then I just, stopped wanting to travel
Yeah.
for a little while, you know. But that's a lot. Sometimes you'd show up to a show thinking you were booked, and then sometimes you had to sit out and help out with music instead, you know. But I think all those experiences are humbling and make you appreciate it more, you know.
It is. It definitely does. It definitely you realize like, okay, this is like when you're booked, you're like, wow, this is awesome. And then when you're not booked, you're like, damn. But I mean, it's we all go through it. It's not gonna be the first time, you know, that we all have done that at some point. Yeah. So I really enjoy it. I love going to shows and just helping out or doing my part. It's just because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're traveling with these guys anyway. You're making stories and you're building memories. And as long as I'm doing it with guys that I travel with and that I love, I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of this. You know, going to the show and then afterwards we'll go get some food and talk smack to each other, and then that long ass ride back home. And still, like, it's awesome, man. I enjoy it. I enjoy this 100%. I love it. And at 7 years later, and I'm still enjoying this. Like, I don't plan on stopping it soon until I can't. I'm probably gonna stop until I can't do this no more.
wait till it's 20 years, and we'll have you back on.
Damn. Well, you know, I'll be awesome.
And one of the things that, you know, I wanted to make sure after you had that big milestone when you wrestled Bear Country, which is a big milestone, you know, wherever it was doesn't really matter, but, you know, wrestling guys like that's really cool. But I made sure to say in that post that I talked about guys who talk about what they deserve versus guys who talk about what they want to earn, right? And that wasn't meant to be something where I'm pumping you up, right? Because you know these things already. But it was something where, like, a lot of these guys who have these ambitions who want to figure out how did that guy get there? How did this person who's holding the belt at this Fed do this? And how did that? It's like he didn't say he deserved anything along the way. He didn't sit there and go, I deserve to be paid more. I deserve to be the semi-main event. I deserve this, right? What guys like you do to get to those spots is you go, how do I earn that, right? And every time you talked about something, and this has always been the way that we've talked, it's like, I want that. How do I earn that? How do I go out there? What do I need to do to get A to B? Not I'm at B, cool, you know, like give me stuff. You've always had that calculation behind everything. And I've always thought that was really cool, and why, you know, now as almost a veteran, right? You're a veteran on the ring. That's something that these guys need to kind of pick up from, which is hard to do, right? It's hard to pick that up from someone, that mentality.
Yeah, I didn't even think about. I guess you could say I'm a vet. Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. Well, I guess yeah, because I've just been. I guess my mentality has been I've just been so like head first, like let's just spear this, let's go and keep pushing, and then pretty soon you're like, wow, like when did I get here? Like I've said this a couple times to my girl. I was like, when the hell did I get here? You know, like when 1 minute I'm over here and then next minute I'm over there, and like I'm on AEW with like Bear Country, and then I'm getting good feedback from them and that they like it. And then next thing you know, I'm facing Carlito, and then he was giving me good feedback, you know, and he's like, bro, like, this is cool. And then it's awesome, man. And it's just, I never been someone, even before I was like, I've never, even like during football, I was never like, I deserve this, I deserve that. I was like, okay, how can I get there? What do I need to do? What do I need to improve on? Oh, I need to improve on this? Cool. What else do I need to improve on? You know, I'm always like trying to improve on certain things. And then like, next thing you know, when you've just been trying so hard to improve on something that you become good at it, and then someone else tells you like, hey, bro, that was really good. You know, it's like, it's one of those things where like people say, if you're great, they'll tell you, you know, and I've never been like, nobody's ever told me. I mean, I guess maybe they gave me little compliments, but once you get those little compliments after every so often, you're thinking, wow, maybe I am doing something right. You know, maybe so-and-so it's being a common thing where like, you're doing good. Like, this is an awesome match. I like this. I like that. This is awesome. And then you're getting it from everybody. You're like, wow, this is cool. Like, this is, before I was in shits and I'm terrible. You know, I need to fix this and that. Now it's like, after getting so many reps in, and now I'm getting the opposite. Now people are saying that you're good, and you're giving you compliments and everything. And it's just, I've never been someone to just bitch and complain. I've always been someone that says, let's go out there and get it. And I think just because I have thick skin, I think too, I could just deal with it better. And if someone is giving me critique, yeah, I'll listen. Hell yeah, I'm going to listen. If it's someone that's more advanced than me, I'll listen. I'll definitely listen to their critique, and I'll take that into consideration. But I'm not someone to complain and say I'm not getting opportunities because of whatever reason. You know, I'm not I'm not like that. Do politics maybe play a role in it? Sure, I guess, yeah, but there's nothing you can do about that. The best thing you could do is go out there and show, hey, yeah, they got in this because they know so-and-so, but hey, over here, I just made you look at my match and you actually saw what I can do and you know how to, you know what I mean? Just go out there and prove it. If you know what you're doing, go out there and prove it and people will notice you. Just don't complain about it and don't say that you deserve things, because the moment I say I deserve this and this, you sound like a little bitch. You know, you sound like you just sound like you have an ego. You know, why nobody wants to be around that guy. Nobody does. Think about the guy at work that does that stuff. And nobody wants to be around him. You know, it's the same thing here. Same exact thing here. So I think as long as I keep this mentality, you know, just things are going to happen because they're clearly happening. You know, obviously not a goal is to be signed, but when that happens, you know, it'll just one of those moments where you're like, wow, I made it. Like, this is cool. This is awesome. And just keep that mentality. Just keep trying to improve. You know, every day trying to improve.
It's nice to get those little bits of validation here and there that all this shit's starting to pay off. Mm-hmm. You know, you know, it's worth it. You know, so that's really cool.
It's Definitely. Good to hear that you got that dog in you. You know,
yeah,
good to hear it.
It is, man. It's just you just slowly chip away. It's literally just chipping away at what you want to do and where you want to be. Next thing you know, people are telling you you're good, and then they're asking you for advice, and you're like, "Me? Why are you asking me for advice?" Like, yes, yeah.
Oh, dude, I was just talking, you know, with Dave about that kind of stuff last week, and a few other people. You know, I had this whole conversation in Chicago, like in this parking lot, about you know, giving people advice. And I said, you know, I like giving advice to people, whether they want it or not. And I have no problem doing it. But you get, you know, some of the guys, like, you give them little pointers, little advice, and they're like, oh, great, awesome, thanks, I'll work on that. And then you try to give advice to some other people, you know, that maybe didn't even ask for it, and they're like, oh, F you.
Yeah. That's why sometimes I'm just like, all right, screw you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, well, enjoy your chops and shitty punches.
Yeah. You'll really draw them in there. Oh, reliable, 3 chops.
Yeah. Oh man, so crazy. And it's exciting for me to see like you and a handful of other guys, we all know who they are, but just starting to take everything they've learned and get it out there for the world to see, you know, and, you know, and still know that they need little work on things here and there, you know, and to be able to keep practicing and moving forward. But it's fun to see. I'm excited. That's what, like, for a while, I was like, oh, in the last few years, I lost, you know, passion for wrestling. I didn't really care for it. I'm like, yeah, I don't really need to do wrestling anymore. Mm. And then, I came to a show and, I saw some of you guys working and stuff. And I'm like, this is fun. I'm having fun. I'm like, damn it. Let's
it's bad.
Yeah, fine. I'll book a show. Let's do it.
Yeah. It just gets back to you, you know, you just, my passion has never been killed like that. It kind of died from football a little bit. But I mean, I still get that itch sometimes. But it's just, you see other people having fun and you're like, I want to do this. I got to be in this more. And then you just, next thing you know, you're on the card. Like, I don't want to be booked, but now I'm here. It's awesome, man. I like it. I like just going out there and just taking what we learned from over the years and just and now it's like to the point now I'm kind of at the point now where I'm about to work a show and I'm wrestling someone. I talk to them and try to get to know them, and then now I'm at the point kind of where I want to see how good this guy is. You know, I'm not like I'm not at that point where I was years ago where I'm like, well, I hope I don't shit the bed. You know, I hope I'm not bad. I hope this crowd buys what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Now I'm at the point where I'm like, I want to see how good this guy is. I've heard about this guy. Let's see how good he is. Let's really see. You know what I mean? Like, how am I compared to him? I want to see how good this guy really is. And then that's what I'm at that point. I get excited. I don't really get nervous. I get excited and anxious. Like, let's do this. Let's do this, man. I'm like, my adrenaline's going. Let's go. You know, that's at the point that I'm at. I think just because I've had so many reps in this throughout the years, that's at the point where I'm at. And it's exciting, man. It's just when you reach that confidence level where you know you're gonna go absolutely tear it up. It don't matter who you can put in there. It's just, you know, you're like, all right, let's see this person how. Let's see if they're about it or if they're really just all talk. You know?
Yeah. So, like, for example, you know, this Saturday, how much do you know about JPH? Have you wrestled him before or no?
No, I've never wrestled him before. I saw some of his stuff. I looked him up online, and I saw that I don't know how long he's been training. I want to say I've been training a little longer, maybe by like a year or two. I don't know exactly. I'll have to ask him. But I saw his promos and I saw a little bit of his stuff, and I'm like, it's pretty good. All right, cool. This is awesome. And then I saw that he trained with Dustin Rhodes down there at his place. I forgot what the place was called. Dustin Rhodes Academy, which I was looking at going down there maybe just to train down there with him. I have to look more information about that, but I'm actually going to ask him about that on Saturday just to get information about it. But seeing that, I'm like, all right, I want to go see how good he is. Like, let's see if he's good, you know, let's see if it's just like all talk. Let's see if it's all hype. Let's go at it, you know, let's not kill each other, but I want to see if he can go, you know, regardless how much time we get. I want to see if he can go, and let's see if we can adjust if things go south, you know, little things like that. But I really don't know much about him other than what I've seen on videos. I don't know how long he's been around, who trained him. But again, I'm at that point where I want to see, let's see if you're about it. Oh, you train down there. Cool. Let's see if we can match each other, you know?
Yeah.
That's all. I'm excited about that one though, for sure. Because we both, I think, he was on Dark too, I think.
Yeah, he was. That's I've actually seen him work a couple times now. And I like his style. I like the way he works. But I was like, when we were talking about the show coming up, I was like, oh no, like we got to put him with Iniestra. Like I want to see what that's gonna turn into.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good. But no, I've seen him work. I like it. I think you'll like it.
I have to look more of his matches up. But hell yeah. When I saw him, oh, he's on Dark. All right, let's see who's better. Let's see who's better. I'm definitely down to do that one. I'm excited for that one, just to test myself, you know.
Yeah, he does all these. It's little things that he does in the ring that make it exciting, and he paces things out really well. You know, so
now I'm more excited.
Yeah, a little more theory, you know. But it should be a good pairing. It should be a good matchup. I'm excited to see that for sure.
Hell yeah, I'm excited for that one. Hell yeah, let's tear that house down.
Nice, man. Yeah, and your match with Carlito. Oh my God, I was just sitting there watching that. Like, I couldn't even believe it. It was awesome. Like every little point, like you guys hit like every little single point with that crowd that you needed to hit. Like, I don't think you were off on any spots at all, dude. And when I saw that, he got that apple out and when he spit it in your face, I turned to Dave and I said, well, we know how Iniestra got COVID.
You're not the first one to say that. Yeah, I got a lot of that. This is how it ends.
And then the crowd started chanting, "You're not cool." And then I stood up, and if there's any video of this, you'll hear it clear as day. And I just yell as loud as I can. I've been saying that for years.
Screw this guy.
Yeah.
He was really cool. Like, I had to go. So I'll probably never do this again, but because I wanted the experience, I went to go pick him up at the airport, dropped him off at the hotel, left, came back, dropped, all that stuff. The only thing I didn't do was I dropped him back off at the airport because he took a shuttle bus. But it was cool just to talk to him. I mean, he's really like laid back. He's really like, yeah, bro, well, it is what it is. Like he wasn't a dick, but he was just more like chill. He's really chill. And then I swear sometimes it was just kind of like pulling teeth. I was like, bro, like just give me something. Like I'm trying, you know what I mean? But I think it was just jet lagged. I think it was probably just jet lagged. I would probably be the same way. But like, you know, so the cool thing is I have a feeling like he was maybe testing me. I don't know. But like throughout the day, you know, I was asking him like, hey, anything cool you want to do? He's like, no, man, I think we'll just, you know, we got time, you know, we're semi-main. I'm like, all right, halfway through the show. Hey, anything you want to talk about? You know, just I was checking up on it because he was kind of just chilling. And he's like, maybe in a little bit. Let me get my gear on. All right, cool. Come back again. Now we're like 3 matches out. And like, hey, anything you want to do? And I'm like, you just want to call it in there? And the booker, Hades, was like, hey, you guys got everything down? And I was like, I think we're calling it in the ring, dude. And he's like, oh, you sure? And I'm like, he hasn't told me anything. I think we're calling in the ring. He's like, all right. He just laughed. He's like, huh, all right. And then walked away. And then, but I mean, had it come down to that, I really would. I was confident. I was like, dude, let's do this. I'm like, maybe he was trying to like see if I would crack. I don't know, because I feel like he was trying to do that.
Yeah.
But I was in my head. I'm like, dude, we can go in there and call this all. I don't care. Like, I'll do this. I can do it all. I can do that. I can, you know, it don't matter to me. I want the experience and just to pick your brain.
Yeah.
But once it was like, I think 3.5 matches out, 2.5, we finally started putting it together. And it was really like, I just let him, he called it all, dude. He put it all together. Yeah. And he gave me he asked for ideas and I gave him some ideas, and then, you know, he put them together where they needed to go. And he was like more about like that character work, and in my head, I'm like, all right, cool. And then he's like, what can you do with this part and with this part? And then character wise. So then I'm thinking, I'm like, okay. And then I started, you know, like just going in a different direction, and something that I haven't done in a while, but you know, and then next thing you know, we put it together. And then next thing you know, I'm like, all right, man, my music's about to play. I'll see you out there. He's like, yeah, brother, we'll go out there, you know, and fucking fist pumps me, and I walk outside, and then crowd hates the hell out of me. And then his music plays, and they're cheering him, and he comes out. And then all of a sudden, now he's a different person. Right now, he's not cool, chill back. Now he's like, all like, he's in character mode. And then at some point, like, I thought about this too. I told my girl about this, that I think like he trusted me. Because at any point he could have been like, screw you, you're screwing up. I'm taking this home. You know what I mean? He could have done other things. He could have said, you're not going to give me this. Because he let me give him a body slam or a suplex. At some point I had him in a suplex, and I waited because I didn't know if he was going to block it. And I'm like, oh, he's letting me do it. Boom. And then, you know, I hit him. And then there was a point where he was underneath the ropes, like on the apron, and I gave him some forearms, and I gave it to him. And, you know, usually maybe the guy will go inside because he doesn't want to do it. No, he stayed out there. He sold it, and then he rolled, and then he gave me another opening. I'm like, screw it. And he hit him again, and then walked inside. So he really trusted me with his body. He wasn't like, yeah, like I said, at any point he could have said, screw you, you're screwing up, we're not doing this. And no, man, he was really willing to work with me. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm doing something right because he is trusting me to do this. And, you know, just because he doesn't have to, you know. And then afterwards we had the match. We tore that bitch down. And everything, I feel like everything was on point. People hated us. People hated me. They cheered him. Never a dull moment. Walked to the back. We hugged it out. Now all of a sudden, now he's smiling. He's not the chill guy no more. Now he's like, yeah, bro. You know, now he's talking to me. And then he goes, he leaves, he comes back, and he brings me a water. And I was like, what the hell? I thought that was weird because usually, you know, like, I don't know. Maybe I thought like I would have brought him the water, but he's like, here, bro, here, take this water. I'm like, hey, thanks, man. He's like, hell yeah. And then we just started talking about the match, and he's like all excited, probably because like, you know, the adrenaline. Yeah, and then we just talked for a little bit. We shoot the shit for a bit and got to know him a little more and just asked him what was good. And he's like, dude, everything was fine. It was perfect. You know, and he's like, you see what I was doing with this and with that? And I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, yeah, I like how you did this and this. And I'm like, was everything good? He's like, bro, it was perfect. You know,
it was too. It was
fun. Everything looked good.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Everything. I was like, wow, everything was like spot on that. Like it was crazy. Yeah, it was awesome. That was very fun to watch for sure.
Not only that, but you got that epic photo of the apple shot. Right? Like,
I love that photo, dude. You should frame that.
You know what? I think I might actually do that. Yeah, it was perfect timing. Perfect timing. I'm like, they actually got this photo. I didn't think they were actually going to do it.
Yeah, no, that was all. That photo's awesome. I love it.
I think I might frame it now. Now you give me an idea. I want to.
I saved it on my phone. I thought it was a cool pic. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, no, I've had like experiences like that where, you're in there with like, a name or whatever. And, you're terrified because you don't want to, for one, you don't want to piss them off. Yep. You don't want to hurt them. Like, I remember being in there with a couple guys and, one was like, don't, telling everybody, when we get in the match, like, don't stay away from my neck, and, don't be doing anything. I'll call it out there. Don't be, kicking me or anything. And then you get out there and all of a sudden dude's like, snapmare, slam me, like start laying it in, give me some heat, and you're like, oh my God. I'm like, oh sweet, I'm trusted.
That's what they told me too. They were telling me, they were giving me feedback saying like, you look, because they told me that too. They said, what I liked about it was you actually met him halfway. You looked like you belonged. You weren't intimidated. Because I guess it happens a lot where people they get starstruck and they don't know what to do. And then they just get eaten up. They're not doing nothing, they get eaten up. And they're like, no, dude, you did the opposite. You looked like you belong and you gave it back and everything. So that was a cool, like another thing to my like confidence. Like, okay, I just hung with someone that was signed in WWE and that's been around the world, and I hung with him and we tore that down. So it's like a little like confidence booster.
Oh yeah.
I game up.
Dude, I remember once when, I was like, I don't know, a few years in, but I remember going down to, so like North Carolina, and I wrestled Honky Tonk Man. And at the time, Honky Tonk Man had this like blog, or like the internet was way different then. In those times. I mean, we're talking like 20 years ago, and he was going on this blog and he would like just rant on all these indie guys that he worked, and like I was terrified. Like you just didn't want to end up on this list, and I was like, oh my God, like I was just overthinking it the whole day. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to screw up, blah, 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 the whole thing. And I got to spend a little time with him before and after. But, dude, we went out. He's like, we're calling it out there. I'm trying in my head remember which way the shake, rattle, and roll goes, and like, but we call it out there. I mean, a lot of it was like, we're just doing crowd stuff. And I'm like, just, praying I don't stiff him or something. So I don't want to wind up on his website. And I remember he does the gimmick. He pins me and he's like, oh, that was great, baby. Hope we can do that again. And I was like, oh, thank God.
I mean, it's true because like you grew up watching these guys and you don't want to fuck up.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, man. It's so crazy, and that nobody else will understand it outside of wrestling. Nobody will understand it.
Nobody understands it, and it's just like I grew up watching you, bro. Like now I'm here with you. This is awesome. This is like you have no idea what this means to me, and it's awesome. It's just and when the hell was this ever going to happen? Like if you don't take those risks, you gotta take these risks in life and just do it.
I know, and that's part of your life now, and nobody can take that away.
Absolutely,
it's awesome. It's awesome. Well, all right, man. I mean, we're it's late. We're about an hour 20. Time just flies, but this was fun. I hope we can catch up again down the road for sure and get the update when you haven't forgotten about us on the big stage.
Absolutely. Hell yeah, we're down. I'm down for sure in the future.
All right. Well, where can people find you? Instagram, Twitter?
Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at El Mero Iniestra. Same thing for all of them. El Mero Iniestra. And it's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
All right. Or just go to Thunder Rosa's account.
Oh, my God.
She'll put a link on there for you.
She'll put it, no.
I'm a one. I'm a one. I'm a 1-to-1. I could never be you. Little me tools, no, I can't be fooled. Little me tools, no, I hate these dudes. I'm a 1-to-1. I could never be you. Anything you could do, I could do better. I could Drop my first single, let go, he rap. You thought it was a drought, that's cap. I get the front and I get the back. Lil Uzi the facts, like that's a rat. Bought some new boots just to wear them out. Bought a new Beamer, I run it to the ground. I used to say nothing, I bet they hear me now. Handle my business, no need to hear me out. Talking too much, say less. If it's less than a check, say less. If you can say it best, say less. I'm taking all best, say less. Talking too much, say less. If it's less than a check, say less. If you can say it best, say less. I'm taking all best, say less. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Little me tools, no I can't be fooled. Little me tools, no I hate these dudes. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Anything you could do, I could do better. I can do better than you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you. Yeah, I could never borrow from no man. How you talking ownership and no land? I got my roll on, now rolling. I drive all my cars like they're stolen. You got on and put your homies out for ransom. I got on and put my homies on the program. Girls hit me in my DM tryna link up. I leave them on wreck and get a no jam. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Little me tools, no I can't be fooled. Little me tools, no I hate these dudes. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Anything you could do, I could do better. I can do better than you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Little me tools, no I can't be fooled. Little me tools, no I hate these dudes. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you.